Okay, so my name is Cathal Delaney. I'm the team leader in analysis project Twins, which is the team at EUROPOL within the European Cybercrime Centre that deals with child sexual exploitation and abuse, online and offline related crimes. I've been at the team since 2013. I started as a specialist, and then I was a senior specialist in victim identification, and then I became the team leader almost 3 years ago now. So that's our role within Europol is to support the member states where we have two or more member states that have an investigation that requires support or coordination from Europol. Then we can provide that, and we do it in a number of different ways, including for example coordination meetings at Europol. We could have conference calls in relation to investigations. We could provide forensic on-the-spot or intelligence support, and then we also look at the cases and the information that's supplied by the member states, and we supply them with intelligence reports based on the information that they give us. When we collate that against the information that we already have in our databases from previous contributions that member states have given us. We also have a victim identification team within the analysis project Twins, and their job is identifying victims or enabling the member states to identify victims of child sexual exploitation and abuse. So in relation to the prevention of cybercrime, particularly the prevention of cybercrime in relation to children who are online and the way that they can be sexualized basically by individuals. So I'll speak first about the Say No campaign. So in June of last year we launched, and that will be June of 2018, we launched, or 17 rather, we launched the Say No campaign. And the Say No campaign came out of a study that we had done and a report which is public, which looked at the means through which individuals were sexually extorting and coercing children and the purposes that they were doing that for. And out of that basically we developed a preventive package. So we produced a video that related to the two motivations for sexual coercion and extortion. One was financial, and the other one was for additional material, additional child abuse and exploitation material that an offender would want a child to produce. And we focused on both of those motivations. We included them both in the video, and we produced it in all of the languages of the member states, with the assistance of the law enforcement agencies in each of them. And then we also produced additional material from that, which is basically education and preventive material, and that's also available on the website. So we're very pleased with the distribution that campaign has got and the impact that it has had. It has been included in a number of educational curriculum throughout the European Union, and we're continuing to work on it and to build on it and to build on the success that we have had with it in preventing children from being exploited or from being further exploited. And one of the most important messages that we would give out of that campaign are that you should control your privacy online, that you should consider very carefully who it is that you're talking to and what you're talking to them about. And if you find yourself in a situation where you have been compromised, where you have given over something, whether it's personal information, whether it is images of yourself that you would prefer others not to see, or whatever that might be, that you will basically tell somebody that you trust that you're in that position. And by doing that, you'll begin to break down that process, and you'll put yourself in a position where you're better able to deal with it if you're not dealing with it entirely on your own. And then when you make that decision to record, basically to preserve the information about what has happened to you, so to keep the texts, the messages, the exchanges that you have had with this person, so that that can be used as evidence later on, that if you have paid the money, you don't pay them any more money. you stop doing that immediately. You reach out to somebody who you trust, and you then consider whether it is that you're going to inform the police. And because if you inform the police, then the possibility that the offender will be tracked and that somebody else won't be victimised in the same way that you have, or the same attempt won't be made, then that's something that is going to be a good step both for you and for other people who could have found themselves in the same situation. In general, in relation to child safety online, many of the same things apply. So if you think about it as an analogy for the real world, what you don't want is your child to walk down the street and begin immediately talking to strangers, showing them family pictures, disclosing personal information about you and your family, what you work at, what your husband works at, and so on. So it's important from an early age to start to have those conversations now, because children are becoming earlier and earlier adopters of technology. So it's important to have those conversations from an early age and to educate them as to what is and isn't appropriate in real life, and and how that translates into the virtual realm as well. And of course, you don't start that conversation by being very heavy-handed and saying, when you get to this age, you are not to share pictures of yourself naked, because a 6-year-old child isn't going to understand that, and they aren't going to want to know why you're telling them that. But you started by saying there are people online who don't want the best things for you, and you shouldn't trust everybody who's online. You should trust people that you know in real life, and that you know in real life. And if anything happens that you're uncomfortable about, then you come to your mother and your father and you talk about it. And then that conversation can progress and mature over the years, but it should always be an open conversation in exactly the same way that it should be an open conversation that you're having with your children about their behaviour in real life. Yes, so I was saying about the virtual world and the real world, that we have to educate our children to act appropriately in both of those environments, and to be respectful of one another, and be respectful of other people, and to ensure that that level of respect is maintained in whatever area they are in whatever environment they are working in, or whatever individuals they're interacting with as well. So yeah, they're the general sort of guidelines that I would give in relation to preventing cybercrime online with our children and against our children as well.